All right. So, next up, speaking of Zach Bryan, apparently there's been a little bit of drama surrounding Zach Bryan again. He was so long story short, there's a little bit of quote unquote beef. It's not real beef, but it's like kind of perceived beef between Zach Bryan and Walker Hayes, or as a lot of our listeners probably know him as, the Applebee's guy, who had that awful song about Applebee's on a date night. That was a jingle that made it to radio and somehow became a hit. Song's terrible, but
Trash.
it's absolute trash. And look, I will say that I think that Walker Hayes looks like a really nice guy and looks like a good father and a decent dude. However, that song is trash, and most of his music I'm not a fan of.
He had two of the worst songs of 2022. I went back and looked
Yes.
at our pot. They were god awful.
Yeah. So,
in fact, we have our target demographic. She's sitting on in the Cold Can studio with us now. She likes it. Terrible taste in music.
Kyle's referring to his fiance, America. But anyway, Zach tweeted about the fact that Tyler Childers' song was "In Your Love" made it onto the radio charts, and that's like the first charting song that Tyler Childers has ever had. And he made a point that I agree with on Twitter about how it's wild that this is the first time Tyler Childers has charted in the top 40 on radio. He goes, "Imagine being the people at radio," and Zach Bryan was like, "Whoever that is." And hearing Shake the Frost and be like, no, we're going to go with the Applebee's guy. And I'm like, okay, I kind of agree with that. It's a good point. Like, you have the Shake the Frost, you have, Feathered Indians, but let's go with Applebee's on a date night and whatever else he said in that song. That, like I said, it was made for a TikTok dance and a commercial.
Yeah. Even Shake the Frost, it's not even my favorite Tyler Childers song. I can,
it's a great song. Great song.
But so on this,
but hold on, let me finish this part and then I'll let you go.
Okay, go ahead.
But then Walker Hayes responded, right? Walker Hayes responded with, he had kind of a nice response because, like I said, Walker Hayes seems like a really nice guy. I don't want to like disparage him as a person because he seems like a good dude. However, I don't like his music. And he was just talking about how like tough it is making the music business. People like him and Zach Bryan, who have had some success, know that. So he had some snarky responses lined up, but he chose not to. He chose to take the higher road. But then him and his friends put together the equivalent of like a pop country music diss track that wasn't really a diss track. There was only one line in it that was kind of maybe in that range. It was like saying something in the orange tells me you're feeling green, which admittedly kind of a funny, cool line. Not gonna act like it's not. But then he goes on saying that, it's just not worth him arguing with Zach Bryan was one of the lines in the song, something to that effect. But it was done in typical Walker Hayes production that was just like layered vocals and programmed beats. And it just was his style that I don't think is any good. I think it sounds bad. However, that was like his quote unquote diss track. It got people on the internet talking. And Zach Bryan even kind of came out and was like, moderately walked it back, saying I wasn't saying this as a diss to Walker Hayes. I was saying this as a diss to radio. The fact that Tyler Childers has never had a song chart before, but yet other songs have charted. And I'm like, okay, I get that. I agree with that. But the comment sections went wild. People on Twitter were just like kind of trashing Walker Hayes' diss track, and probably rightfully so, trashing the Applebee's song. And then even the Walker Hayes fans were kind of like, okay, this is a little bit cringe. So I know that you guys recently just heard it. I wanted to get your takes on all this.
All right. So first up, bold of Walker Hayes to come at Zach Bryan online. Zach Bryan's fans are very online. They're young. His fans are not. They are probably
early 30s to middle-aged white women.
Yes.
That's the fan base for Walker Hayes. Let's be honest.
They're not the Twitter base. They're the people who follow Instagram influencers on
they're the ones who are going to target fighting over the Stanley Cups.
Yes. Which
putting
pots
some miles
and pans,
on their own cloud tennis shoes.
Yes. Which pots and pans are the best ones to buy for easy cleaning? Yeah. So bold strategy there. I don't give Zach Bryan credit for walking it back. He knew exactly what he was doing.
No, I didn't give him credit for the walk back. I gave him credit for the initial. But I do agree with what he said in the, like I said, kind of moderately walking it back of like he was dissing radio because he was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he knew what he got himself into. All right, so here's my favorable
We just
take
want him to
to
double down.
yes, never apologize. That's the way of the internet. Never apologize.
You
You
only
double,
apologize if you're wrong, and what he said was true.
you don't even apologize if you're wrong. You just
Eh,
double and quadruple down.
I don't know. I believe in apologizing when you're wrong, but
Anyway, um,
Kyle's like, nah, not me.
nah. So my, I'll give this is the compliment I'll give Walker Hayes. This is probably his best written song. It has some clever lines.
Dude,
I'm not
talking
saying
about the diss track.
yeah, I'm not saying it's good, but
So that's the frustrating thing about Walker Hayes, though. Like I've listened to a few of his songs in the past. He has the ability to write some clever lines. It's just the production makes it such like a burden to listen to.
The beat on this is horrendous.
It's that weird production though. It's like he kind of has this talking kind of like almost like he sounds like what he probably is. And like I said, he looks like a nice guy, but he sounds like a dad trying to be cool because that's what he is.
He's the dad.
He's got like 5 or 6 kids.
He's the dad in the background of his prepubescent daughters doing the Soldier Boy. Is what he is. You seen the TikToks where like dad's in the background doing the dance and his daughters don't even know. But there's not the song actually has some. It's not a diss track really. But it has some. It has some. I'm not gonna call it clever. It's quasi clever language in it. I'm not okay. This is better than anything I've heard from him. I mean, I don't want no beef. I mean, I didn't think it was horrendous.
No, it was like I said, the production is what killed it for me.
Like
and also just the whole reason of y'all sitting around wanting to write that also was kind of like, okay, why? But it's almost he's been accused. I'm not saying this. The ZB fans, like you said, really young, perpetually online crowd. They're the ones that are like, hey, you're just trying to use this to get internet clout off of Zach Bryan. And I think that could be true. I don't know. I don't know the motivations, but we're talking about it. People with larger channels than us are talking about it. So in some ways, he's made himself relevant in the country music news cycle.
I think Howard Stern said it. It doesn't matter if you're saying good things or bad things about me. You're still talking about me.
Yeah.
And that may be it. And to an extent, he did pick Zach Bryan's. Is this the one radio single he's had?
Well, it's probably charted the highest for him.
Yeah,
for Zach
charted.
Bryan.
Yeah,
something in the orange. Yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of targeted that. So, like I said,
and that line was solid. Something in the orange tells me you're feeling green. However, I don't really think that Zach Bryan was really being like jealous of Walker Hayes. If we're being honest, Zach Bryan's about to go on a stadium tour. So what? He hasn't had a massive TikTok #1 hit on country radio. Nobody. That's at this point, it still matters a little bit, but radio is becoming antiquated compared to what it was even 10 years ago, much less 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, it's just. I just roll my eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it. Just roll your eyes.
Andy, what were your thoughts on this? Because I know you had seen bits and pieces, and then I sent you that shout out Grady Smith video on YouTube because he kind of concisely put everything together.
I'd say first, I would say on a technicality, I would say Shake the Frost probably wasn't the best for Zach Bryan to choose because I don't believe that has a studio cut of it out. I think it's only the live version out. So on a technicality, bad choice for that. But I kind of think Walker Hayes is just kind of jealous of Zach Bryan because for him to like in his quote diss track to go after Zach Bryan didn't mention himself. He mentioned Tyler Childers. He didn't bring himself into it. He was more so speaking on behalf of Tyler Childers, which I think Walker Hayes kind of sort of go after Zach Bryan. He's a little jealous. And if I'm not mistaken, the last line of that thing he did was something along the lines of like, we die trying to be Zach Bryan or something like that. Am I close on that, on the last line of that thing?
Yeah. I don't remember exactly, so.
But I want to say it was more so, it was like I don't know, but kind of saying like, we can't write the songs, you can, type deal.
Not many people can.
Not only
No.
write them, but just
I kind of
shit
took
them
it
out
more as
at an insane rate.
I took it kind of
That was a
for him to
compliment.
behave like that he might be a little jealous of Zach Bryan.
I took that as more of a compliment than jealousy.
Yeah, I mean, look, even this really what, and like, I don't think Walker Hayes meant it truthfully as a diss track. I think he kind of meant it to get into the news cycle, which, you know, successfully done, because he wasn't mean in the song. He was actually like, he took the high road because, like I said, I've said it, I think 3 times now. Walker Hayes seems like a decent human being. I just don't like his music.
Yeah, and I think Grady Smith hit on it. It was like, you know, he's a dad.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that guy when your kids get old enough to judge you.
Yeah. That's
You know,
true.
That's a hard thing to think about. None of us are parents, but, you know,
yeah,
we all in the future want our kids to think we were about as close to good as you can be, you know. Nobody's perfect, so we don't want to be.
Yeah, and then look, and Walker Hayes hasn't had like a shoot up straight to superstardom either, because like he had like one hit in the early to mid 2000s called Pants. You guys have heard that song. You probably don't remember it though, but you have heard that one, I promise you. And then it just like he kind of disappeared and didn't have any success. It took him like he said 18 years to kind of get to where music was profitable for him to be able to support his family. And he found something that worked for him. It's not our thing. I'd venture to say it's probably not most of our listeners' thing. But there is a market for it. I just don't, objectively speaking, I don't think it's very good. I think he has talent and could write better songs, but the songs get buried out by the production choices. But again, not our thing here on Country and Cold Cans.
I think he kind of said it. Walker Hayes even kind of said it. I'm just trying to make a buck here in the music industry.
Yeah, and look, I don't blame him for that. I don't really get mad at people for trying to chase a dollar, right? You want to be able to afford nice things and take care of your family. We get mad at artists for doing commercials and chasing the bag, so to speak, but we don't get mad at regular people for it. I think that's a bit crazy. But I understand the line. People will say, well, there's a difference in, you have to straddle the line between art and commerce. And like, yeah, I mean, don't completely be a shill, but we all need to make money. They want to make money.
Yeah.
If we had the ability, like all of us, if we're being honest, there's very few people that probably would turn down the ability to make lots of money, even if you didn't necessarily love the music you were putting out. If we were talented musicians and we could write catchy pop country stuff with lots of buzzwords about Dixie cups and tailgates, we probably would.
Yeah, I would sell out in a minute. In a minute.
Yeah.
I'm not lying. Yeah.
But I do see where it would, you know, Zach Bryan, Tyler Childers, they have better music.
Yes, objectively speaking,
it's just factual. Yeah. It's just factually, it's just better. And you know, some people don't get as much money when they're doing a better job.
People within Nashville, if they were like in secret, not being recorded, would probably admit that it's just objectively better. Because being popular and being catchy doesn't make something good. The example I always use is who sold the most cheeseburgers in American history? McDonald's. That doesn't mean McDonald's has the best burger. It's just the most accessible.
Yeah.
So
the last thing I'll say on Walker Hayes is, like I said, it isn't good, but just try. I mean, you had some clever lines in this.
I'd like to see him put out an actual country record, not like the program beats and that kind of like sing talk stuff that he's been doing. Like, I'd like to see, because I think he has the ability to put out some actual good country music.
Strip it back. I want to hear it.
Well, yeah, when he does acoustic versions of stuff, it's not bad.
Yeah, strip it back.
Yeah, strip it back.